This old man took his cattle up the hill that morning in December 1991 because that's what he did every day, rain or shine, winter or summer. He took his cattle up the hill that morning and he never came back. A handful of men in police uniforms arrested him. Whether or not they were legally police officers was irrelevant. In these parts, power came from the barrel of a gun, not from a piece of paper. The man's crime was the same crime it always is in places riven by sectarianism, not being one of them, being the other, being the enemy. His crime was nothing he'd done. It was who he was. He was Croatian, they were Serbian. That was all there was to it. The men took him and a few others to the nearby village of Jesenas, and there they were executed. The old man left behind a family whom he loved and who loved him, none more so than his 6-year-old grandson, with whom he shared a name and from whom he had been practically inseparable. The old man doting on the boy hero-worshipping his grandfather. The name they shared was Luka Modric, and this past Sunday that small boy, now 32, led his country out in the World Cup final.
He has his president in tears. Officially the player of the tournament.
After his grandfather was murdered, Luka's family's house was burned down, and they had to live in a hotel for years. Not an expensive, comfortable one, but a basic, crumbling one in their hometown of Zadar. When the mortars fell, as they often did, young Luka would sit inside and wait them out. But when the all-clear was given, he'd be off playing football in the hotel car park, sometimes with other kids, sometimes on his own. Anything to escape the grim, numbing reality of living in a perpetual state of conflict. Football uses the language of war. Strikes, shots, volleys, attacks, defense, bombardment. Modric knows too that in Croatia, one is always bound up with the other, because between them they are the history of that small, proud nation written. He was a small kid, too small as it turned out, to be taken on by the local bigwigs, Hajduk Split. He ended up playing aged 18 in the Bosnian-Herzegovinian league for Zrinjski Mostar, which was where both teammates and opponents discovered two things about this kid: that he had all the skills you could want and that he could look after himself too. Fast forward 15 years through a journey that has taken him from Dinamo Zagreb via Tottenham Hotspur to Real Madrid. Even though he still looks like, in the unimprovable words of the Guardian's Barney Ronay, a little boy dressed as a witch, he is now one of the best players in the world. A midfielder of fabulous talents, one of the very few who can bend time and space to his will. And of all those talents, perhaps the greatest is this: that he makes others play better. When the simple pass is the best option, that's what he plays. When he needs to hold the ball for a few moments so his teammates can get into better positions, that's what he does. When he has to cover back after someone else's mistake, that's what he does. Real Madrid's continued success came only after they found a permanent midfielder position in the form of Modric. It is evident that it was primarily his brilliant assists and passes to Ronaldo that helped them find a substitute for someone like Modric, and whoever does replace him will certainly have some very large shoes to fill. He's not one of those superstars whose mega wattage draws the eye and the play too, whose own presence inhibits the other 10 men wearing the same shirt as him. He's the ultimate leader precisely because he doesn't make it all about himself. You won't find him rolling around as though he's just stepped on a landmine, or ripping his shirt off when he scores, or standing there looking haunted when things aren't going his way. He leaves that kind of stuff to Neymar, Ronaldo, and Messi. And his team love him. When he missed a penalty late in the match against Denmark, his teammate Ivan Rakitic gathered the others around. "Listen," he said, "Lukita's got us out of more messes than we can count. It's our turn to repay him." The Croatians put the miss behind them and won the subsequent shootout, with Rakitic slotting the winning kick. But if you want to know what Modric is made of, here it is. Only a few minutes after missing that penalty, he'd taken another one in the shootout, with the Danish keeper Kasper Schmeichel in his face trying to put him off. Did he score second time round? Of course he did. It's hard to properly feel what this Croatian side mean to their country. The most famous image in English football history is that of Bobby Moore lifting the World Cup. The most famous image in Croatian football history is that of Zvonimir Boban taking a flying kick at a riot policeman. It was during a match between Dinamo Zagreb and the Red Star Belgrade in 1990, not long after Croatia had effectively voted for secession from Yugoslavia by electing a majority pro-independence parties to their parliament. Boban saw the policeman mistreating Dinamo supporters during a riot and launched himself head high at the man. "Here I was," Boban said later, "a public face prepared to risk his life, career, and everything that fame could have brought, all because of one ideal, one cause, the Croatian cause." Boban was sacked from the Yugoslavia team who went to the World Cup that year. He didn't care. In his own mind, he was Croatian, not Yugoslavian. And 8 years later, he captained Croatia to third place in their very first World Cup. He was leader of a generation of fabulous players: Slaven Bilic, Robert Prosinecki, Davor Suker, who to this day are revered in their country. In reaching the final, Modric's men have already gone one better than their predecessors. It's fitting that they're playing France. Both sides have played 3 group matches and 3 knockouts, with Croatia the stars of the group stage and France the best team in the knockouts. The smart money has to be on France. They are a better team overall, and they have won all their knockout matches in normal time, where Croatia have been taken to 3 consecutive extra times, an additional 90 minutes of football, the equivalent of an entire match more. My head says a French victory, perhaps even an easy one, but my heart says a Croatian win, for the fairy tale of the underdogs, for a proud people forged in war, and most of all, for their remarkable captain and the old man after whom he was named. In a world where land borders divide us, it is only fitting that the next World Cup is happening on sea, uniting the entire globe under the common religion of football. And with FIFA changing its rules to include 48 nations in 2022 instead of 32, this change couldn't have come at a better time. As the world's spotlights turn to Qatar, Croatia, the smallest nation in Europe with just a population of 4 million, will continue to inspire and remind all the new World Cup aspirants that with hard work, grit, perseverance, and the right attitude, anything is possible.